Talking about two more spring training games, some more roster moves, and what the opening day lineup could look like for the Detroit Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? We are back here for another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Monday, March 28th, 2022. Today, we are going over a couple more spring training games, like we talked about. Couple more, just a weekend's worth of games. The game on Sunday was not televised, which is lame and dumb. But I guess we have to. Like on Mize Day, really? That's a great way to grow the game. I know it's spring training; it probably doesn't even matter. But let's put Mize Day on TV. I don't care if it's spring training, a fall workout. I don't really care. Find a way to get Casey Mize on my TV. So we're going to go over and recap those games, and we are also going to go over what potentially the opening day lineup could look like. That was a big topic of conversation after, I believe, Saturday's game, spring training game. The lineup they had on Saturday was definitely the closest thing we have seen to a potential opening day lineup. So we're going to go over what a opening day lineup could potentially look like. Said potential a lot there. Opening day less than 2 weeks away. A week from this upcoming Friday. Can't wait. Be there or be square. It's going to be a fun time. I know I will. So, I guess we'll just start off. Let's just start off with the with the spring training games this past weekend. First off, Friday's game, a 8-4 victory over the Toronto Blue Jays. Really, 8 runs. Never going to complain about 8 runs, you know. Tucker Barnhart played in this game. Akil Baddoo, the story of at least the first inning of this game, cranks a home run off Ryu to right field. Ryu, notably a lefty, absolutely cranks a home run to right field, pulls a ball off a lefty, and that was the talk of the town. He had a double off of a lefty. The end of last week? I think he had a hit off a lefty too. A single a couple of days before that, and then now he has the big boy home run off of one of the better left-handed starting pitchers, especially in the American League. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. We've talked about it a million times, right? That has been the story in spring. That has continuously been the story this spring training, and will continue to be for Akil Baddoo. So it's really, really cool to see him, even if it is just spring training, at least see some production off of left-handed pitching. It's awesome to see. Jacob Robson in this game looks pretty good. No chance of making the team out of camp or anything, but looked solid. Got a little bit of playing time last year when we got bit by the injury bug pretty hard. Not a bad outing. Not a bad outing for him either. Robbie Grossman did Robbie Grossman things. Isaac Paredes home run. The biggest thing, actually, Evan Petzold just wrote a fantastic piece covering and talking about Isaac Paredes and his odds of making the team going forward and what he needs to work on and all that. Conversations with coaches and stuff like that. It's a very, very good piece. So go check that out. Evan Petzold, also the dog. Fire up forever. I didn't make it through, but that's okay. For real. Evan's great. So Isaac hits a home run in this game. And the biggest thing talked about in Evan's piece, and just, known kind of throughout the fan base, is Isaac's power just non-existent so far at the major league level. Has been absolutely non-existent, and it hasn't been very existent. It hasn't really been very prevalent in AAA either. But it's a lot easier to hide that in AAA because his bat to ball skills, that's what I'm trying to think of. His bat to ball skills are still great. Still gets the bat on the ball an awful lot. Pretty has a great sense of the strike zone. Like, he's fun to watch at the plate. He just can't drive a baseball. Like, he can't drive a ball deep, and he struggled with it his first time up. He struggled with it last year. It's been a reoccurring theme for him for a while. So seeing him get a home run again, even if it isn't spring training, is at least encouraging, because that's been one of the biggest things. And it's not like his swing doesn't allow him to drive a ball either. He's got a beautiful stroke. So, like, it's a weird thing. It's a really weird thing, and it will absolutely be one of the most watched things within the organization. Will be how his power numbers fluctuate, and just really him at the plate as a whole. Because long-term option at second base is completely up for grabs. I know everybody loves Scopey. Hate to break it to you, he's not the long-term option at second base. He will be at second. He was at second. What, last year? Was he there in 2020? I feel like yes. I'm trying to remember. Anyway, he's been there. He was here last year, was here this year, this past year, the year before. Yeah, 20. What am I thinking, bro? Yes, he was here in 2020, here in 2021, will be here in 2022. Um, and that's probably it. This is probably the end of the road for Jonathan Scope as far as his career in a Tigers uniform. I can't imagine that he is going to be extended too much longer than past this year. Getting the extension in the first place was already it wasn't a shocker. A lot of people wanted it, actually. I wanted it. But I mean, this isn't like a big deep thing. We don't need to go down this road. But Jonathan Scope is not your long-term solution at second. He's in his 30s. It's not reality. This core is very young, very young. Jonathan Scope's a guy you're signing for pretty cheap, and is filling in at second base for the time being. So that spot is wide open for the future. You called up Cody, or you added Cody Clemens to the 40 man, I should say. He's had an interesting spring. Interesting is a dumb word. He's showed out somewhat in spring at times, I guess I'll say. Has shown some pop. Kid can hit decently, and was a hell of a hitter in college, but it's really just a matter of whether he can consistently hit well enough to hold down a starting second base job on a competitive team, and if the defense is going to translate, because he struggled a little bit defensively as well. You got Paredes, who can play second, and who you've had up before playing third. Played a little bit of short in the minors, whatever. I don't think anyone thinks any of the utility guys are really in the running for long-term second base. The Harold Castro or Zach Shorts, or those players. I don't think any of them are really in the running there for second base. The opportunities now, I guess, is what I'm trying to say for Isak. This is your time, brother. This is it. Take a big step forward. Everybody was super pumped about you when you first came up. Really translated very well coming over from the Cubs system. Very, very well, and has had a really good minor league career, but needs to be able to take that next step at the plate if he wants to. If he wants to, again, the opportunity's there, man. It's right there for the taking. It's right there. Go grab it. The only other thing about this game really is Tarik Skubal, who we will get into after the break, I've decided. So, first, though, I got to tell y'all about Bet Online. After months of playing college basketball, has determined the top teams for the Final Four and will determine this year's national champion this coming week. BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info, from all the latest odds, contests, and player props, you name it. BetOnline remains the best spot for all your latest sports developments, including podcast reviews and all the leagues this season. It's not just basketball. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino games. So don't wait. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, everybody. We are Back here for segment 2. This is canned water, by the way. Don't get any ideas. Uh, at Locked On Tigers. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every day, free and available wherever you get your podcast. That's including YouTube. Also on YouTube, you can find Locked On MLB Prospects. Host Lindsey Crosby is a prospect encyclopedia. He's going deep on the MLB stars of tomorrow. It's free and available wherever you get your podcast. Also, including YouTube, just like us, because we're on YouTube. Everybody's on YouTube. So go sub on YouTube. It's gonna be a fun time for real. It's gonna be super, super cool this regular season. Okay. Tarik Skubal. We got to talk about it. I kind of went on a tangent there about the future of the second base position that I don't think I was really expecting on going down that like rabbit hole when I pressed record today. But here we are. That happens sometimes. Tarik Skubal had a very Tarik Skubal game. A very Tarik Skubal game. Like the most on-brand Scooby game you could possibly imagine. And it's only spring, but the fact that he's already copy and pasting his like pretty much every start from last season is a little, maybe nothing's changed. I don't know. It's still early. We're not going to pass too much judgment yet, but there's definitely a lot of things that he still needs to improve on. So he goes 2 2/3, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, and 4 Ks. 4 strikeouts in less than 3 innings. Fantastic. 4 hits and 2 runs and a ton of hard contact on outs and on hits. Not great. 1 walk, whatever. It's all about the heater. It's all about the heater with Tarik Skubal, right? He has this lively fastball that he can get swings and misses on so much. But he also will leave it to hit way too much of the plate, and then it's hard contact city. Like buckle up, because you're gonna get taken for a ride. And it's frustrating because he has such nasty swing and miss stuff. I mean, put up one of the most ridiculous K per nines I've ever seen from a starting pitcher in minor league history. Like it was like 15 or something absurd, right? So he has the stuff. Even last year, I mean, the strikeout numbers were fine. It's just he was the Adam Dunn of pitching. Like it was either a strikeout or he was giving up, on a 100+ exit velo, a lot of times home runs. He was the 3 outcome pitcher instead of the 3 outcome hitter. And that's not great, right? That's not great. So to see him already starting to replicate, 56 pitches in 2 2/3, that's pretty high, little high. It's just, it's wild to see him already falling back. Maybe falling back's a little too dramatic, but already see him replicating what he was doing last year. There's still a lot of stuff he needs to work on, and a lot of it is really just fastball command. When he's painting corners, he's getting swings and misses, but his fastball moves a little bit, which is good. The problem is it moves to wherever the barrel of the bat is, like pretty consistently. If it's a righty and he's aiming outside, the thing tends to tail in. I guess if it's a lefty and he's aiming inside, it tends to tail in. You gotta, baseball's the definition of a game of inches. If you're expecting a tail, compensate for it. Aim a little further in, And there's a lot more to it than just that. If it was that simple, then he would just make the adjustments and we'd be on our way. But because he has heat that moves the other way too, and so just mixing all those together and making sure that he's not having his heat consistently tail into the middle part of the plate is a really big issue. So something to keep an eye on. Again, we'll gladly take the 4 strikeouts, but it's just a little frustrating when it comes at the expense of getting a lot of hard contact hit all over the yard. That's all. I think that's probably it for the Friday game. Yeah, I think that is it for the Friday game. Let's go into Saturday's game. 14-8 victory against the Philadelphia Phillies. Matt Manning started this one. I know it looks rough. The box score is not pretty. It wasn't this bad. Like it's not as bad as the box score says. Error with 2 outs in the inning, so every run that came after that was pretty much unearned. It was not nearly as bad of an outing as the box score would tell you for Matt Manning. The box score, just so you're aware, would be 3 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, only 1 earned run, no walks, and 3 Ks on 50 pitches. So his ERA for the spring is still 1.8, even though he he was out there for a 4-run inning because again, Jonathan Scope error with 2 outs in the inning. And I don't know. I don't like obviously yes, he could have just buckled down and gotten an out right after, but I don't like the whole that I should be expecting my rookie pitcher to get 4 outs in an inning. That's dumb. So I'm not gonna take too much of this. I'm gonna pay attention to no walks and 3 Ks in 3 innings more so than I am 4 runs that and only one of them earned. Right. The velocity was really good for Manning. It was really good again, and it's been good all spring. And we've heard a lot out of camp that it's been really solid. So that's obviously great news because last year that was one of the biggest storylines with him was the inconsistency on the velocity and all that kind of stuff. So it's really nice to see him consistently pumping mid 90s. And the curveball outside of the one that he hung that got taken for a roller coaster ride. I thought the command of his curveball was fantastic. Fantastic. Now we did try to mix in the slider. You know, we've had that conversation before, the difference between his curveball and the slider, and sometimes they mix together and what's going to be his true third pitch, the slider or the changeup, all this stuff, right? The breaking ball was the curveball was command wise very, very solid this game. And that's at least good. We can talk about what's going to be the ideal third pitch forever, but I'll gladly take, we got to buckle down and make sure that the first 2 are going to be good too, right? So it looks really solid. And I was pretty impressed with the performance. 50 pitches in 3 innings, but again, they took him for a ride after the Scopey error. It was just round the order, round the order, round the order. So not going to look too much into that either. All in all, I was pretty impressed. I thought Manning looked pretty solid, and I don't think that very much of them can really be put on his shoulders. More just looking at the stuff, and the stuff was absolutely fantastic this game. So, in my eyes, good outing for Matt Manning, even though the box score might not look it. Gregory Soto, 1 inning, 2 Ks, perfect inning. Beauty, man. That's the dog. That's the dog. That's gosh, I love him. I love him so much. So that was super exciting. His velocity continues to be in that 98, 99 range. Beautiful for this part in spring to already be up there. Absolutely gorgeous. Michael Fulmer, 1 inning, 1 hit, no runs, solid. Chafin struggled a little bit. No one should care. You shouldn't care. It's spring. It's his second outing with the team. He had a sub-2 ERA last year. He's been consistently around 3 his entire career. I'm not going to once you hit a certain point in your veteran status, I don't care what you do in spring anymore. And Andrew Chafin has reached that point. Don't care. And then Sunday's game is really the only thing left. Because there wasn't. I mean, we scored 14 runs in the Philly game. We don't need to really go through every single person that did well. Derek Hill had an opposite field homer. That's cool to see. Again, we talked about earlier in the spring, coming into spring with a new batting stance, etc. So the better he looks, the better news that is, right? Obviously, not great analysis there. And then Eric Haas home run. Finally getting off the pine there, was off to a kind of a rough start this spring. So that's cool to see. So yeah, it was fun. It was fun that everybody got in on the hit parade a little bit. Riley Green hit, I mean, who didn't? Javi Baez, Willie Castro hitting a walk. There's no point in going over when everybody dominates in a spring training game. We will come back to that for segment 3 for the lineup, though. The only other thing was Sunday's game. It wasn't televised, so I can't tell you in detail how everybody looked. But Tyler Alexander did get the start, and his box score was pretty decent. He had 6 up, 6 down at one point on top of that as well. Great. Jose Cisnero with a 3-pitch inning. Beauty. We'll take that. Brian Garcia, the odds of Brian Garcia being on this 40-man, I think, go down and down every day. I already don't think he's going to make the opening day roster just because I think there's not any room for him in the bullpen, even if we do go to 28. But I'm starting to think that he might be one of the casualties when we add Torkelson and or Green to the 40-man. I think Brian Garcia might be one of the guys that gets the chop. That's going to be an interesting conversation as we get closer in opening day when Torque and Green are officially added to the 40-man. Who gets the boot? That'll be something we talk about here. Yeah, I mean, like Jamer had a good game, had a double this game as well. It's just good. Ever since he hit that homer against the Yankees, he's kind of just been like back to normal Jamer. So that's obviously great news. Torkelson, Ofer, like his numbers in the spring are still fantastic. Don't really care. Yeah, that's probably it, right? Okay, so that's it for recapping spring games and your scheduled future, the second base position talk that I didn't plan on doing. Let's do another ad break and then we'll get into opening day lineup. All right. First, though, I got to tell y'all about Built Bar. It's that time of year. Everyone's pretty much given up on their New Year's resolutions, right? We're pushing we're pushing April now. Goodness, I don't know why I said February. But not this year. If your resolution is about eating right, and that's thanks to Built Bar. It almost feels like it's not really a resolution because you actually enjoy eating them. Have you tried the Puffs? If you haven't, you're missing out, man, for real. They are one of Built Bar's best tasting bars. Puffs are the first ever protein infused marshmallow. They're fluffy, they're marshmallowy. They're not just a protein bar, they're a treat. And they're covered in 100% real chocolate. Puffs are a fan favorite with some incredible flavors: yummy cinnamon churro, coconut marshmallow, banana cream pie. They're going to be your new favorite. All Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate, low calorie, high protein. Replace your candy bars with these. They're better. Most Built Bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein, when a candy bar has about 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. Mint brownie, coconut almond, and new for this month, white chocolate, cookies, and cream. They are all delicious. New flavors are coming out all the time. They think a flavor might be good, they'll make it. It will be delicious, and it will be good for you. At Built Bar, they're all about the taste. They make it taste delicious first and then make it healthy. And I don't know how, but they pull it off every single time. So go to Built.com right now. Use promo code LOCK15 to get 15% off of your order. That's promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at Built.com. All right, everybody. We're back. Third and final segment here at Locked On Tigers. Let's go over this potential opening day lineup because I think that Saturday's game was easily the closest we have seen so far, and might honestly, it might genuinely be pretty darn close to the opening day lineup. So let's go over what they rolled out there on Saturday against the Phillies. So it was Badu leadoff, Grossman 2, Javi 3, Jamer 4, Miggy 5, Scope 6, Green 7, Torque 8, Barnhart 9, Matt Manning on the mound. But that's not important to this. I don't even know why I really said it. So I think this is pretty darn close, and this might even be a lineup that we see this year. Now, it's important to point out a couple of things. One is that AJ Hinch will not do the Ron Gardenhire or the Jim Leland every single day. You're getting the lineup and the same exact lineup every day. He's very much not an old school manager. He is The 3 spot is the 3 spot for yours all season. You're the leadoff guy. You're the designated leadoff guy all year. That's just not. He's going to do a lot situationally. He's going to do a lot matchup wise. He's going to do a lot, based on the starting pitcher, based on the stadium even. You are not going to see the same lineup too many times in a row because that's just who AJ Hinch is. He's a very intelligent human being, right? So we'll start off with that. But we can try to formulate maybe the lineup we see the most often or the lineup we see the most often early, right? Obviously, opening day being the earliest. So while there's not going to be, absolutely not going to be like one lineup that we kind of just ride, we can kind of still get our best guesses in for what the lineup will look like in the first couple of weeks of April. For starters, I love Robbie Grossman at leadoff. I always will, and I always have, and I still do. Having a guy that can get on base like that, having a guy that can work a count and draw a walk right off rip, I think is more valuable than people will maybe ever realize. It is so vital. It is so important to get off on the right foot like that. It can be so valuable to the rest of the lineup and to the rest of your team, especially early on in a ball game. It's just Robbie Grossman's just the best. So while he's not your traditional, again, like speedster, leadoff hitter or anything like that, if you're still one of the more old school fans that maybe likes to go down that road, he's not going to give you that. He did steal 20 bases last year, though. He's not the fastest guy on the team, but I think he is the best leadoff hitter on this team. And if I'm writing the lineup card, he's my leadoff hitter on opening day. All right. Now, 2 is interesting because back in the day, the 2 hitter was the guy that you wanted to be the bridge between your 1 and 3, right? You had your one guy that was the speedster and could score from second and with the middle of the lineup. Once the middle of the lineup came up, that kind of stuff. The 3 hitter was your best hitter. The last couple of years in the analytics age, teams have started putting their best hitters batting second. Mike Trout bats second. Yelich, MVP Yelich, I should say, batted second. Most teams' best hitters now bat second in their lineup. Now, if you have a stacked team like the Dodgers or something, you can pretty much do all 9 situationally or based on matchups and be fine. But for most teams that have a clear best hitter and aren't just 9 all-stars, they have been putting 2 is the new 3, right? But also, I'm not sure I want someone that doesn't work counts and doesn't draw walks at 2 either, because that's still pretty high in the lineup to kind of get through that. I don't know. I go back and forth on it a lot. A lot of people were saying on Saturday that this would not be a bad opening day lineup. And I agree. It wouldn't at all. Akil in the leadoff spot, solid. Can work a count if need be, especially if it's a righty. I'm all about it. Sure, why not? Grossman at 2. I'm pretty much going to be a fan of Robbie Grossman wherever he is, as long as he's in the top 4 or 5 of the lineup. Javi Baez 3. Yeah. The debate for me is Baez at 2 or 3. That's really the debate in my head. I don't really see any other place that I would put him. He's instantly, you signed him, and the second he put pen to paper, he became your best hitter as of the current moment. Obviously, there's dudes with ceilings that are higher than Baez's offensive output, but especially if you look at what he did in a Mets uniform last year, he instantly becomes your best hitter. So I'm okay. I love him at 3. The debate for me is, am I confident enough in him right off rip to bat 2? And that's a debate that I'm going to keep having with myself probably, because I'm not 100% sure yet. Jamer at 4, love it. I think honestly, Wherever you don't have Baez, whether it's 2 or 3, that's probably where Jamer goes. And in this lineup, Grossman's at 2. I'm never going to complain about that. Baez at 3, so Candy gets 4. Makes sense to me. Miggy at 5. He's always going to be in the heart of the lineup, whether you like it or not. Scopey at 6 instantly becomes one of the more dangerous 6 hitters in baseball. But I completely agree that the 1 through 4 should all be in the mix for 1 through 4. So I love Scopey at 6. Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson. By the end of the season, I expect them both to be higher in the lineup. For both of their first months of Major League Baseball, hell yeah. And the great thing is you had a good enough offseason and brought back your pieces from last year to where you now you don't need to pressure them to contribute and be the best hitters on your team right away. You don't need that. You don't need Torkelson to have a 110 OPS plus and Riley Green to be a 5 WAR player his first year, especially on pace for those numbers in the first month of the season, because you brought in other talent and you had brought back the talent you had last year. You built a foundation and you added to it. So the 1 through 4 is pretty good on this team now. That's a pretty solid 1 through 4, man. It really is. I'm really excited about it. And that means that when they start producing and you can then move them higher in the lineup, and then already your more productive bats can move lower, then you're looking at, that's when you start talking about a really, really one of the better lineups in the entire American League. And then Barnhart at 9, sure, he's clearly the weakest hitter in this lineup, but you don't pay Tucker Barnhart to hit. You pay him to be one of the best defensive catchers of baseball, and that's what he's going to be too. So I don't mind this lineup on opening day. I think I would probably go Grossman, Baez, Candelario, Cabrera, Baddoo 5 hitter Akil Baddoo. I don't know. Righty lefty also is going to depend on a lot. I don't want Akil Baddoo, even if he has a great spring, and I still believe that he has the potential to work through it. But on opening day, I'm not going to have Akil bat lead off against a lefty. I don't know, man. Maybe 5 hitter Akil Baddoo, maybe. I kind of like that. And then honestly, 6 through 9 can then stay the same. That's nice. Scope 6, Green 7, Torque 8, Barnhart 9. Sure. There you go. So the only difference I have is literally just moving Akil down to 5 and then moving everybody else up 1. Pretty close to the opening day lineup. There you go. So that's just going to be a fun thing to watch out for as the preseason continues. It's preseason, spring training continues. Is just seeing how many different lineup combinations we have, and when those 9 guys are all in a lineup, how they're ordered. Because I think those are the 9 guys that are going to be on the opening day lineup. The order is the only thing that's really debatable at this point. And I think that's it for a show. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On MLB. Paul Francis Sullivan, please call him Sully, brings you his unique perspective on the majors, both past and present. It's free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. Just like this guy. If you're on YouTube, you see me pointing to myself. Also in a different place again. I just change up on you. I'm just all over the place, man. No, I'm out of town for a little bit. But work don't sleep. The grind don't sleep. And the Tigers play in less than 2 weeks, baby. Opening day, less than 2 weeks. Cannot wait. Going to keep updating through spring, keep updating roster moves and people that are guaranteed not going to make the roster. We had a couple of more yesterday. We'll talk about on tomorrow's show. We're probably going to have a couple more before the game tomorrow or right after the game tomorrow that we'll obviously talk about tomorrow as well. All right. Works for me, baby. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. And I will catch y'all tomorrow. Go Tigers.